Hi everyone and welcome along. Today we're going to brighten up grey January with some beautiful celestial metallic watercolours. I've been sent some new watercolour products to try from MAB Watercolour and we're going to paint some beautiful butterflies and dragonflies. So grab your paints and let's get started. So here I have three very exciting little tins from MAB Watercolours, which is a handmade watercolour brand by a wonderful lady called Melina Barshak, and we've been talking, and this is a sponsored post, so I've been sent these things, but the whole point is to give you a very honest review of her watercolours. So they are handmade paints and they're artist grade quality, but unlike store-bought watercolours, or unlike many store-bought watercolours, they don't have any fillers or preservatives, so they're highly pigmented, light fast, and archival and acid free, which all sounds very, very good. But you can see they are some incredibly vibrant tones. So today we're going to look at the gold. This is called the Celestial series, and this is the neon. And I asked Melina to provide me with certain sets of colours or types of watercolour that I've found really difficult to find good quality ones of in the past. So the first thing we're going to do is get swatching. I find it so brilliant that more sort of individuals are making independent handmade watercolours, because you just get some really exciting shades and colours. I love this one, the Celestial series in particular. This one really caught my eye. So what's great about these watercolours, they're half pans, but they've got little magnets on the bottom, which means they can stay put in a tin. So you could take this tin out on a travel with you and go and paint somewhere out and about, and you could sort of pick and choose which colours you wanted. Just get whatever you need, and it's absolutely genius. So that's really good. And then the other thing that I like about these is that we've got the names labelled on the pans themselves. So as this is the Celestial series, these have got names from the horoscope, so Aries and Taurus. But what I will do is I will label everything I'm using, all the names of the different colours, in the description below. So now I'm going to I've got some strips of watercolour paper which are offcuts from when I paint other pieces. So we're going to start painting in some swatches, and I'll tell you all about how the watercolours feel and how nice they are to use. So I've done here's something I prepared earlier, because I think with metallic watercolours in particular, the appearance of when it goes on wet versus the appearance when dried can be a big game changer, and so I wanted to just do some in advance for you with a differing level of concentration, and then show you what it's like to put the paint on in the moment. So Sagittarius, this lovely purple up here. So once it's dried, you can see how it looks. I'm just going to paint it on here so we can see if there's any difference. So the one thing I will say is there's a beautiful, really, really fine kind of glittery finish on it, which I really appreciate. I think the colour in the pan is very, very exciting and bright and vibrant, and when it goes onto just like paper as a colour in itself, it's maybe a little less vibrant and exciting, but I've got an idea that these are probably going to be amazing layered up on top of other colours, so we'll definitely have a go at that. This one is Aries, a lovely copper colour. What I'm really enjoying is how easy they are to use, like very satisfying creamy consistency when you add your bit of water. And just keep an eye on the right hand swatch and see if you think there's a big difference at all. Aquarius, here we are. Totally getting paint on my fingers. So yeah, you can see that I think the colours, once they go on the paper, it's not as like shimmer. Well, it's shimmery and beautiful, but it's not quite as vibrant as the ones, the colours you see in the pan itself. But I think they're a really beautiful consistency, and there is good colour, and also you can see how the colour just really starts to sort of lighten and shimmer as it dries. And for me, that's always been a huge factor with metallic watercolour, the fine tech watercolours, the metallic ones I use a lot. When I'm actually in the process of painting them on, I always think, oh, I'm not sure, and then they come through for me, which is exactly what these ones are doing. So that's what I will say is, when you're looking for metallic colours, what I think is really cool about these is that they can actually form their own fairly solid colour already, and they can dilute down really nicely. And this one, Leo, is a really beautiful, deep, rich, dark, sort of dark gold kind of colour, a very burnished gold, maybe with a little bit of a red tone in it. But yeah, so that is the Celestial series. I really like those, but I'm even more excited to see what they're going to be like when we paint them over the top of another colour. Okay, so here we have the Golden Series Volume 1, and you can see from the swatches I created that they are very much a sort of translucent, fine glittery gold that works really beautifully, again I think as a wash over the top of another colour. But my favourite one has to be this one here, called Brilliant Gold. Now don't forget, I've listed all the colours in the order that I've painted them in the episode notes below, and this is the moment to tell you that Melina has very kindly given my followers a 10% discount code for anything in her shop. And how amazing is that? So to get the code and the link, just check out the episode notes below. So while I really enjoyed painting the metallic watercolours, they had a so slight sort of translucent feel that wasn't quite as like vibrant as I was expecting in the pans, but this is where MAB Watercolours have absolutely hit it out of the park. I have never seen such brilliant neon colours. So this is them dried, and this is me painting them on nice and wet. So beautiful, smooth, creamy consistency, and just the most beautiful application. And if I get my brush wet, look at that, how gorgeous. How gorgeous is that? I'm really impressed with these neon watercolours. And neon watercolours are a thing that I have struggled to find, and so if you also would love to try some of these, don't forget that there is 10% off everything in the MAB Watercolours shop at the moment. So yeah, I'm just going to really enjoy myself putting these swatches on. And then what we're going to do, because I've got a sneaking suspicion that the metallic, celestial and gold watercolours might be really amazing over the top, layered on, we're going to try layering them up over these neon swatches. So I painted a swatch, a long big swatch of neon pink, and I'm going to take some of the celestial colour and I'm just going to dilute it as I go down. So I think when it goes on, it can be quite dark, and then once it sort of lightens up, once it starts to dry, we're going to get this really beautiful metallic fizz over the top. And then if I take some of my Golden series, and I get my favourite one, the Brilliant Gold, well, that's looking lovely, and it goes on really nicely. I just take a wet brush and start to travel it over it. That coverage is really nice and even, and we'll see what that looks like when it dries. Okay, so we're now going to do a little butterfly and dragonfly tutorial as promised, and I've got my neon set and I've picked out my favourite gold, the Brilliant Gold, and my favourite metallic, which is Libra, and I've just also put a bit of the neon purple into my palette, because what I thought might be interesting is trying to just mix together some of these to see how that works. So what we're going to begin with is I'm going to do a lovely little colour blend butterfly for you. So I've got a size 4 brush, and I'm going to take some neon purple, and I am going to paint 2 sort of mirrored brush strokes. Now you always find that one side is way easier than the other, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to bring both of them down into the body of the butterfly by shaping them with a little bit of water. Now what I want to do is try taking a little bit of the neon pink and just dropping that in. Wow, that's super cool. Really, really nice. And now I'm going to take some neon pink for the bottom half. So I'm going to come down with a little sort of teardrop shape. 2 brush strokes there. Oh, I've got a little friend. Hi! You're not welcome here, I'm afraid. I'm painting butterflies, not bugs. Okay, guys, I will just send this chap on his merry way, and then we'll continue. Well, our watercolour is just so popular, everyone wants to learn. Don't worry, he's just been placed over the other side of the room. Okay, this is looking really nice, and now I'll take a little bit of the orange and just drop a little bit of that in. And I've got to say, I am absolutely thrilled with these neon watercolours. I just think they're amazing. So that is a really simple butterfly shape. Now we're going to try mixing in a bit of the metallic in with the neon purple, and then we can see once it's dried how it works. So we'll do one from the side now, just a butterfly on its side. Ooh, that makes a really beautiful purple. And the bonus is we know that's going to dry with metallics on it. So if you ever want to paint a butterfly from the side, all you have to do is just paint essentially one side of the butterfly. And let's place in some gold and see what happens. Oh, that's lovely. Just dropping it into the wet allows it to just spread out and create some really beautiful, beautiful detail. So the good thing is with these watercolours is they all work together really nicely, even though they're different sort of makeups. So you've got the glitter in some, you've got the neon tones in others. They're working together really nicely, and that's what you hope for, especially when you are picking up colours from a new maker and you're sort of not quite sure how they're all going to sort of talk to each other. But I'm so pleased. I'm really, really impressed. So I'm going to add some blue to this gold, just playing around, and we're going to do one more butterfly. So let's have it flying around. And this time what I'm going to try doing is now adding in some of the solid neon blue into the mix here. Oh, look at that, that looks wonderful. Very, very pleased with that. Let's try the green. It's just got such a lovely consistency. I really like that. Wow. These do work very well. Let's pop a green in there. That's going to dry so beautiful. Okay, that's looking really nice. Let's try some dragonflies, shall we? So the nice thing about a dragonfly is it's lovely and straightforward. What we need is some long wings, and that's just from using the tip of your brush and fanning it out, pressing down. And if I get in some more of my gold, just going to drop a bit of that in on the sides. Oh, I'm having a lot of fun now. And I think get a bit more celestial. Well, it's not, I'm sort of, it's becoming celestial, but this is the neon blue mixed with the gold. And I'm just going to drop in a little bit there. Another dab, and then a long one, and there you go. And then just a few little dabs at the top, and you've got yourself a lovely dragonfly. So we'll do one more. Just slightly curve the wings this time. I think dragonflies and butterflies, once you sort of get the hang of them, they can be the most fun things to paint. Let's get some neon green. Okay, so we're going to let these dry, and then what I want to see is how well these colours can layer up on top of each other. So they've now dried, still looking really vibrant and beautiful and very shimmery, so that's a great sign. And I'm now going to try painting these in a much more concentrated, detailed manner to see how they layer up. So I've got a size 0 brush, and this is the Taurus colour from the Celestial palette. And I've got it really nice and thick, and oh, that is fairly gorgeous. So that's interesting. So these colours seem to work really nicely as slightly sort of heavier, thicker, more concentrated elements to pieces, which is interesting for metallics, because you always think of, oh, I'm just going to like wash them on over the top, but that's really interesting. And if we can just do a little shape in the middle, so you've got your head, your thorax and your abdomen. Also we could place in a few spots. It's the nice thing with butterflies is sort of anything goes really, especially if you're making sort of fantastical ones. I've just seen that little bug fly back across my table. That's really funny. So I'm just sort of edging it with this dark, sort of intense Taurus celestial colour, and it's going on really nicely, really nice and creamily. Put some of those spots on so it holds up really nicely. And then the other thing I thought would be interesting to see, if I take my rigger brush, and what's it like for some nice fine lines. I would say pretty fab. So what I like about these review videos is, you know, the whole point is to make sure that we're really interrogating these colours, and things that you might think at the beginning, you can then be really surprised as you use them more and come through to the end. And I think these are an absolute triumph. So don't forget, there is a code for 10% off for all the Winton Paper Co viewers in Melina's shop, and you've got the link and the code in the episode notes below. And I'd love to hear if you are already aware of MAB watercolours, and maybe you have some already. Let me know what ones you have and what ones you love to use. It's just really fantastic to be able to support independent makers and manufacturers and artists. It's what it's all about, really, isn't it? So for this one here, I just tried using the Sagittarius colour up here, which was this one here, just in a really nice concentrated form, and it's worked really beautifully. So now let's see what the gold is like in concentrated form. So this is the Brilliant Gold again. So it goes on well, it's layering up nicely over the blue. This is a very sparkly butterfly. And I think that works rather nicely, just doing the little dabs around the eyes on the wings, and I'll put some in there as well. Yeah, really, really shimmery and beautiful. So to finish off the dragonflies, I've got the Leo colour here, and with my rigger brush, just twizzle it in the palette there, just sort of creating fine lines that just protrude out from the centre there. Or you can paint back inwards. I'm never too worried especially when I'm just painting fun little illustrations like this, about making them completely mirror each other. But yeah, I would highly, highly recommend looking at these colours if you are in the market for some new watercolours. So the shop is based in England, but ships all over, so that's not going to stop you if you are overseas. But yeah, have a little look, and don't forget there is a 10% discount code across the whole shop, which is really exciting. So I might just speed up this painting and so I can rush off to the shop myself and see what else there is to try. But yeah, I really hope that you have enjoyed watching this very, very nice and simple dragonfly and butterfly tutorial, and hopefully it won't be too long before we start to see them out and about as the weather gets a bit better. I know it's going to be a little while, but hey ho, we can dream of spring and summer. And don't forget, of course, that we have tons and tons of tutorials for animals, plants, insects, landscapes, objects, all sorts of things, trying out lots of different types of watercolour, just enjoying ourselves really. And so don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and comment below to let me know how you found that sort of review and tutorial. And all that's left for me to say is thank you so much, MAB Watercolours, for sharing your beautiful products with us. I think they're absolutely fantastic, and don't forget there's a 10% discount code in the shop, and you can find out all the details in the episode notes below, the lists of the names of all the colours and according to the swatches. Thanks so much for watching. See you again next time.